Welcome everyone. In the lean production technique, we talk about this production approach, which minimizes the cost of production. There are certain the collaborative approach of the cutting. So we talk about firstly the just-in-time technique, and coming on lean production. Just-in-time technique is a stock management, stock controlling method. So they are really responsive towards the customer orders and uses very little stock holding in just-in-time. And talk about just-in-time in advantages and disadvantages. Just-in-time, because of just-in-time, cash flow can improve because unnecessarily you're not investing the cash into the stocks, tied up in stocks, and also no wastage, out of date, damaged stocks. So there is nothing happened to the stock because you're not keeping any stocks, right? And also space is released. You can use that warehouse space or something else, or you can rent it out. No stock holding cost, and also a stronger links with supplier, and fewer suppliers are there. On the other hand, disadvantages, you can see higher ordering and administration costs can be seen, and also rely hugely on supplier reliability. Advantage of bulk purchasing may be gone, and then hard to cope with the changes in demand, and it's very vulnerable to break in supply. Okay, let's go to this Dell case study, activity number 1. Dell is a privately owned US computer manufacturer. In 2015, it became the world leader in PC monitor sales by volume. It also launched a brand new tablet range called the Dell Venue. The design for this range was heavily influenced by the customer feedback. Much of Dell's success results from its unique manufacturing approach. Dell was the first in the market to make computers according to the precise customer specifications. They'll use direct computers according to the precise customer specification. They'll use direct selling. All its products were sold online. All its products were sold online. And also you can see a customer would place an order on Dell's website listing the various specifications then were required. Like normally customer can decide what kind of PC you want, what's the screen size you want, what is the capacity. So online order system was also there. Dell would then make the computer and deliver it to the customer very rapidly. So they have that customized computer options also. Also, you can actually purchase from their agents, like different countries, Dell agents are there. You can purchase from them, and also if like some few countries, they are providing these online services. You can specify, you can use specification according to your requirement, and then they will give you the home delivery of that computer. This approach allowed Dell to deliver tailor-made product at a lower cost. By manufacturing to order, Dell was able to avoid the cost of buying too many components and having to store them. It also meant that they did not have a stockpile of waiting to be sold. This enabled Dell to put together and deliver products very quickly, and this saved time and allowed Dell to pass on the savings to their customers. Dell also developed a special relationship with its suppliers. It persuaded them to hold inventories of raw materials and components and deliver them very quickly and when they are needed. This was the key to Dell's approach, as Dell was passionate about minimizing stock levels and relied heavily on suppliers to bear the burden of inventory holding and meeting very demanding lead times. So this enabled them to actually reduce the stock holding costs and lead time also. So you can see this is a practice of the just-in-time by Dell. But the practicality, because it is a multinational company, sometimes making the online orders like that, sometimes it is not sometimes practical for them, because in different countries. So anyway, like a computer manufacturer like Dell, someone can argue they must have huge amount of stocks. 3 questions they are asking. Describe how Dell adopted just-in-time method. Number 2, they're asking describe the benefits of Dell of using a just-in-time approach to production. Question number 3, asking carry out some research to identify another business that uses just-in-time methods. Right. So we'll see the first 2 questions. Describe how they adapt and what are the benefits of just-in-time Dell computers. The question number 1, they says how Dell adapted just-in-time methods. Just-in-time or JIT simply is an approach to production that involves holding very low level of stock. In some cases, none at all. Suppliers have to deliver inventory straight to the production line at regular intervals. This might be several times a day. JIT also means that goods are not produced unless they have been ordered. This avoids the need to hold stock of finished goods. In this case, Dell used direct selling and all of its products were sold online. The customer would place an order on Dell's website, listing the various specifications that were required, and Dell would then make the computer and ship it out the customers very rapidly. The entire process they have mentioned again. Dell also developed a special relationship with supplier. It persuaded them to hold inventories of raw materials and components and deliver them very quickly as and when they were needed. This was the key to Dell's approach, and Dell was passionate about minimizing stock levels. It relied heavily on suppliers to bear the burden of inventory holding and meeting very demanding lead times. So you can see here the Dell, you can see they are using their suppliers as the inventory holders. They are just a manufacturer. So manufacturer hereafter no need to stock the inventories. Stockpiling is not necessary because the supply chain management, if you can handle quickly, like they have maintained a good relationship with supplier doing the stock controlling part for you. So that's why it's a very good, nice approach. So the entire store's warehouse system was eliminated, and then you're depending with the supplier. So that burden goes to supplier, but in case supply is not close to you, the supplier relationship is not good for you. Imagine if they take some delays and sometimes supplier is not that much close to you, then you have to take some additional precautions, like to keep some stock with you, because supply chain sometimes is unreliable in most of different supply. So reliability of the supply is really important for the success of a business organization. I call separate study we call supply chain management. Sometimes there are different courses, degrees also designed like a master's courses, supply chain management, masters in like a supply chain management and logistics, like project management. So normally this is a really big course, right? The supply chain management. That's why this just in time what they wanted to do, get rid of the stocks and depending on their supply. Okay, describe the benefit to the Dell of using a just-in-time approach to production. The just-in-time approach allowed Dell to deliver a tailor-made product at lower cost. The first advantage, cost will go down. By manufacturing to order, Dell was able to avoid the cost of buying too many components and having to store them. Storage and handling costs were reducing significantly. It also meant that computers were not being stockpiled, waiting to be sold. This enabled Dell to put together and deliver product very quickly. So quick delivery. It also saved time, improved cash flow, helped to avoid waste and damaged stock, and did not waste space. It also allowed Dell to pass on the savings to their customers, and this helped the business to become one of the market leaders in sales of computers. One of the market leaders of sales of computers, right? So that is the benefit of that thing. So increase the productivity, increase the delivery time, right? Improve the cash flow position. So increase the savings to their customers, and you can be the market leader also, right? Right. Okay. We'll go to the Kaizen method now. The other one. So we talk about just one method of the lean production. The second method of the lean production is the Kaizen. Kaizen, on the other hand, the English version we call continuous improvement. The continuous improvement. Right. The Kaizen actually we can explain. You can see in my handout section. You can see we talk about the lean production, advantages of lean production, and also 7 types of wastage that they try to minimize from lean production. And here we go, Kaizen. Right, this is how in the Japanese Kaizen we are going to write. The Kaizen is only just 2 letters. You can see Kaizen. So Kaizen is a Japanese for improvement. Right, when we use the business sense and apply to the workplace, Kaizen refers to activities that continuously improve all functions and involve all the employees from CEO to the assembly workers. Right, it also applies to the process such as purchasing of logistic that cross organizational boundaries into the supply chain. So one of the key drivers in Kaizen is a good housekeeping, a clean and well organized work, right? So therefore, simply normally so far the Kaizen practices, sometimes we can ask define question. Define what is meant by Kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese term for continuous improvement. This word you must know. What is the continuous improvement, right? Because step by step, because we can make a big difference step by step, gradual improvement, continuous improvement. So if you watch the movie like Karate Kid, you must know this thing, like, in the first, the Miyagi, the sensei, he teach that the first Karate Kid very slowly. The first few days, first few weeks, he was not doing anything, just cleaning the floor and then paint in the wall. Like that, step by step only, actually, he added them all together. At the end, he actually introducing the karate is actually the continuous improvement. By working with so many like a labor works, like a paint in the wall, washing his cars and then sweeping the floor and paint in the floor. All these activities are continuously improved his the physics, right? He actually is like the body movement and everything continuously improved. Another example, if I tell you to do some kind of, let's say, 1,000 push-ups or 2,000 skipping ropes. So it's difficult for the first day. For the first day, if I told you like that, it's very difficult. But if I give you a target, okay, do 10 push-ups and 10 skipping ropes, you can easily do it, 10. And then tomorrow, I will tell you, okay, now you can do 15 push-ups and 15 skipping ropes. So every day, if I increase that number of push-ups and skipping ropes things by 5 by 5, like 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, like that, in 20 days, you can do 100 push-ups and 100 skipping ropes, right? And like that, in 1 year, sometimes you might be able to do 1,000 push-ups and 1,000 skipping ropes without any problem. Because daily basis, if you're practicing those things, daily basis, you can improve something. Then after 2 years, sometimes you might be confident to do 2,000 push-ups, sometimes 2,000 skipping ropes per day. Sometimes after 5 years, doing 5,000 or 10,000, sometimes it doesn't matter, right? For example, some famous athletes, some famous boxing guys, they're sometimes they're commenting, I don't count my push-ups, I don't count my skipping rope activities, exercises, they are not counting even, because it doesn't matter, because it's all about the time. They can continuously, they can do like 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, continuously they can do those activities. So counting is actually pointless. That is, they have improved that much. But in the beginning, counting is important because you don't know how much you can do. Therefore, Kaizen also same principle we're applying there. Slowly you're improving your progress. It's slow in progress. You can't make that like a big difference within 1 day or 2 days. It takes some time, right? For example, like Rome not built in 1 day. It takes some time. Like that, business empire also, your business also, you have to take you some time to build up, but continuously to improve. Most important thing is that improvement, right? Never deviate from the goal or objective. Continuously you should improve day by day, right? So every day you must, as a student, must be able to learn something new, continuously improve. Must be able to educate something like a new concept, new word, you must add it to your vocabulary, right? Than yesterday. So then daily basis, if you learn like that, your learning cycle will be continuously improved, like Kaizen. Within 1 day, you can't be a graduate. It will take some time. Within 1 day, difficult. That's why we have a time limit, like a 4 years, 5 years, 3 years courses, right? So sometimes learning is I think we had a continuous process. You can't stop learning after, you can say, the age limit. I'm finished my education after 25, after 30. You can't say like that. Learning is a lifetime process. Everything until the day we die, we are learning. So it's a continuous improvement of the same. We can apply that to the business. There is a strong link between the lean production and Kaizen. So Kaizen is a Japanese word that refers to the practice of continuous improvement. There is a belief that in Japan that everything can be improved. Even at work, the Japanese believe it is possible to make small improvement continuously. So this means that workers are always coming up with ideas to improve quality, reduce waste, or increase efficiency. The improvement may be small, but over a long period of time, they have a huge impact, right? So in many Japanese companies, workers are familiar with coming up with ideas, and it has become part of their culture, like sharing idea, like quality circles, consultation process is very important part in Japan. However, when Kaizen is adopted in other countries, workers have to be trained. Training plays a key role in Kaizen because evidently workers in the Western countries do not possess the same cultural characteristics of the Japanese. Because Japanese culture and the Western culture different. Because Japanese culture is always they are sharing and then they are giving you ideas. They are respecting each other's. So team working, collaborative process is everything is there. If you go to Japanese companies, for example, if there is a problem in the line when there's a when you're walking in the factory, you can see some kind of small litter. Even if you are the chairman, he don't bother. He take the litter and he put it to dustbin. That is Japanese culture. But in Western cultures, if something wrong like that, sometimes the chairman will ask who responsible for cleaning today, and he fire the person. He give the punishment. So that's the Western culture. But Japanese culture is teamwork. It doesn't matter. Even the chairman knows sometimes he comes to work. He also they are in the in the bottom line workers, and sometimes he's very humble. But in Western countries, they have a very huge status quo is there. So their culture totally different. That's why they mention the limitation here. When you adapt in the Kaizen, these Japanese techniques into the Western countries, you have to train them. You have to train them. So and also the Kaizen. This is why Kaizen has a strong link between the production, right? The elimination of waste in the business is an important part of Kaizen. Firms that adopt Kaizen have to train workers to continually search for waste and suggest how it might be avoided. This is why Kaizen has a strong link with the lean production. The example of waste may be, you can see the time wasted while staff wait around and before starting risk, right? Such as waiting of materials to arrive. Like that, these are the things like normally the Kaizen can do. And time wasted when workers are moved unnecessarily in the workplace, such as walking to a central point in the factory to get tools. It's called transportation, right? From the manufacturing location to the stores, you have to travel like a 200, 500 meters, like a half a kilometer. So it takes some time. So you have to avoid unnecessarily moving here and there. So this is a walking time for the central point to the factory to get tools and equipments. This is another kind of a wastage, transportation. And first one is the time wasted. Stop waiting around before you start some work, because idle time or lead-in times, right? Sometimes staff has to wait until the materials arrive. Sometimes staff has to wait until the equipment and tools that to bring them down to the place, right? Transportation. Sometimes the irregular use of machines, such as one that is only used once a month. So you can't optimize the utilization of the capacity is very low. Capacity utilization. Sometimes you're using that machine only once a month. After that, you are keeping that machine somewhere, in the corner. But that millions of money you waste. So you can even outsource that machine if you want. You can rent it out. These options. So we're going to talk about these things. Like Kaizen is like that. Always the secret behind success of the Kaizen is a continuous improvement. So Kaizen is about building a culture in which all employees are actively involved in suggesting and implementing improvement in the company. So for that, we have to bring the workers' ideas together. Like you can do some practice like quality circle. Like you can make a team of employees and you can let them to talk, and then you can get the good ideas from them, and then you can implement those ideas to improve. Because sometimes the front workers in the organization, they might have very good ideas than the senior management, because frontline workers, or we call the grassroots level workers, they might working directly with the components, materials. Sometimes they better know this material is actually low quality or high quality. Sometimes their idea sometimes very valuable in that case, because because they know the insights of the factory better than the top management. Okay, the irregular use of machine. Something that's normally these wastages can be reduced by taking the advices from the employees. But now Western countries, getting the advices of the employees is actually, they say it's a very the ridiculous idea. How can we believe our workers? So that's the culture of Western countries. But in Asian countries, not like that. They're treating their workers equally. Equality is there. So they let them to talk, and very democratic control we can see in those countries. They give them, it's kind of a motivation for the workers, like consultancy. And it's truly a lean companies. It becomes a natural way of thinking for both managers and factory workers. Focus on customer need is also a crucial element. So that is all about the Kaizen, right? The Kaizen method, you can see after the Kaizen will lead to another thing. One of the key drivers in Kaizen is a good housekeeping, as I told you. Good housekeeping. A clean and well-organized working environment is needed for continuous improvement to flourish. The Japanese use a method called 5'S system to ensure that is achieved. So 5'S we are going to learn now. What is 5'S? So it's the third level I can see is Kaizen, linked with the Kaizen. And with the, because of the Kaizen we can achieve only where there is a 5'S system only. So 5'S system you can see because the key drivers in Kaizen is a good housekeeping, like maintain the, because that's a small improvement, right? Small changes. You can actually follow this. If you follow this method, definitely for a long time, you can see there's a huge, difference in your level of progress and your marks, your progression, everything in every way. So what is this 5'S? Sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. Right. Before we go to the in detail, let's see this is a 5'S system in another infographic. You can see the 5'S system I have introduced through this pie chart. You can see sort, right? Clearly distinguish the need of items and unneeded items and eliminate the latter. So sorting is a very important thing. Sometimes you can see your study table, study room. Sometimes identify the needed item and unneeded items, important items, unimportant items. And then if there's unneeded items, you can actually throw it away. You can eliminate it. Set in order. Keep the need of items correct place. Allow for the easy and immediate retrieve. Right? So set in order. Everything have a proper place. Example, the spanners, you can see order, set in order, small one to large one. For the vehicle keys, they must have a specific place that you're normally keeping your keys, right? Everything. So your calculator must have a specific place to keep your calculator. For your mobile phone, they should have a specific place for charging point, right? For your computer, they must have a specific place, right? For your books, business studies book, accounting book, there should be a specific place for all the textbooks. If you keep everything in together, what happens in difficult to sometimes to retrieve, because you have to go through so many times to find out your business textbook. If you have for every subject, if you have certain location, this is my business area, this is my accounting books area, this is my physics books area, this is my chemistry books area, like that. So have some kind of a space in your table, or it can be a cupboard or something. Allocate some certain distinguished place to every subject you're learning. That calls set in order. Right, that is very, you can see, you can feel very like a very inner change in your life after this situation, because everything there's a specific, you organize your mind accordingly, right? There is no confusion here after, because everything there's a very systematically you follow the lifestyle, right? And after that, shining is always you have to keep the workplace neat and clean, right? So daily basis, right? Shine it, like clean your computer, right? Sweep your vacuum clean your place, right? You can sometimes you don't need to do it, sometimes you can tell your servants to do it, right? So shining, sometimes workplace, that's why some organization they hire third parties like business process outsource companies to keep shine, sweep the floor, clean the toilets, and then everything. Even if you're using a laptop, you can clean the dust and everything. You can use a paper or sometimes a cloth or something. You can clean the screen and everything, because always whatever, otherwise you can see how much dust is there. So this is really important, at least once a week or sometimes daily basis. It's depend up to you. We have to clean this thing, right? So keep the workplace clean, nice and neat and clean. It's like we are daily basis, we have to, right? Like personal hygiene factors, right? Washing our faces, brushing our teeth. So everything's same. We are doing regularly. Sometimes organization also same thing. Business premises, your physical materials, everything, you have to keep it up shiny. Another one, standardize. This method by which you sort in, set in order, and shine that are made habitual. Standardize means make it a habitual, make it like a rule, right? Make it like a rule. For example, brush your teeth before you go to bed, morning and evening, at least twice a day, at least thrice a day. Make it like a habit, standardize your personal hygiene factors. Like that, you can have some kind of standardize. Okay, before I go somewhere, I should wash my car. Like that. Before I use my laptop, I should clean it up. Every day I should at least clean the dust and everything. So make it like a habit. Then you can see you can't get rid of it, because that standard you can maintain. Standard means you have to continually practice that. So you can make like a rule for the workers also. You have to do this. This is the process. Before you switch on, after your work in this thing daily basis, you have to clean the machine and go. Like banks, they have standard like that. You can't go home without balancing your cash book, right? Money inflow and cash inflow, cash outflow, you have to balance it and go. You have to close the books and go, because you can't. Tomorrow morning you can't actually continue that part. Tomorrow morning is a fresh day, fresh start. So like you can make some kind of standardize. This is your daily routine, right? You have to practice this method. And last point is sustain. Sustain is maintain and establish a procedure. Do it again, infinite. Sustain. So this English word we can see the original Japanese word. You can see sort is seiri, and then straighten up we call, like in sort, and set in order we call seiton, and shining, right? Shining, keep like always clean and tight, because say so, and then standardize or make it a rule we call seikitsu, and then sustain, right? Continual practice, and that's called the shishuke. So like that. So these are the 5 methods: seiri, seiton, seiso, seikitsu, and shishuke. So, but Japanese words, it's not compulsory to actually memorize, but English words you have to follow: sort, straighten, shine, standardize, and sustain. There should be order starting from the seiri, sort, right? First of all, you have to arrange everything, and then straighten up, like mainly everything seiton, straighten up, and then shine, standardize, sustain. This is called the 5S system. So this 5S system is really important in order to achieve the Kaizen system. That's why in the textbook we have mentioned these things. So because the good housekeeping is a key driver of the Kaizen. The good housekeeping can be achieved by using this 5S system. Sort, get rid of the clutter in the workplace. Sorting. Only necessary items such as tools should be stored in the workstation. All other items such as excess inventory should be removed. Sort, set in order, organize the work area so that it can easy to find what is needed. Set in order. Shine, ensure work area and equipment are clean, make them shine. Standardize, one of the most effective working practices have been identified. Everyone in the workplace should be adapted to them. Sustain, adapt system to lock the other 4S into the way people work at all times on a permanent basis. Sustain. So once Kaizen is adopted, it is likely to support the wide range of techniques such as principles and practices. So after Kaizen adapted, you can actually, there are some other principles also there. We can practice. This is another other concept of the lean production. We call this is number one, standardization. So standardization means that carrying out each business activity according to the established formula. Standardization. This formula may be printed out and hung in the workplace for all to see. That is really important. Like we can see there's a hold on every country there are right traffic signs are there. There is a standardization, right? Standardization. Color light is a standard method used in every country. When it comes to red light, you have to stop your vehicle, right? When it comes to the orange light, you can wait for actually until you is fine. You can switch on the engine and you can wait to go to the forward. And then when it comes green light, you can go, right? Red light and green light. So this is standardization. So these are important color codes, sometimes traffic signals, other boards are there, right? Speed limits. In highway, there are some road control speed limits are there. And then this is the standardization, right? Make it available, make it like a rule. Then everyone can get communication, right? It's like a standardized practice. Like schools, we have like a school rules. Library, we have library rules. So everything is there printed and circulated to all students in our almanacs. So this is how the business can standardize those practices. It's kind of a formula. You must print it and sometimes you have to hang in the workplace for all to see. Because school rules and regulations, we are not actually hung in our walls. It's in our almanac. There are large number of rules are there, right? Uniform rules, your dress code, your classroom rules and regulations, and library rules and regulations, and so on. So these are, you must follow. This is called standardization of these things. So most of the efficient and safest way to complete a job is there in the standardized job. In this way, quality is assured and customer expectations are met. Quality is assured and customer expectations are met. So it is a management task to make sure that these standards are maintained. So who is responsible to maintain the standards? Managers are responsible. Managers must get involved if standards are not maintained, and also make adjustment to methods to avoid future failures to produce to the standard. That's why always managers might sometimes take these measures, and they should ensure that this is practical. Is this rule practical, or we should change this rule? It's like a constitution, standardization. That's why every country there's a constitution. Constitution means a standard behavior expected from citizens, right? So standard behavior. This is the way that we appoint our president. This is the way that we appoint our parliamentarians. This is the way, and these are the powers of the members of the parliament. These are the powers of the president. Like everything standardized. Otherwise, there is unlimited powers and unlimited, behavioral. There we can explain, but that is not the democracy. Democracy means must have in a civilized society some standardized behavior should be there. We had to expect from citizens. Otherwise, it's like there is no difference between the civilized society and the barbarians, right? Because standardization must have some expected level from all of the citizens. Example, when I'm driving a vehicle, so there is a expected level I'm there to adhere the system. I should go with the left-hand side. Some countries right-hand side, right? Some speed limits are there. So road signals I have to obey, right? And if there's someone, there's a good, safety precautions are there to take. Different standardized methods are there to what? To protect ourselves and other citizens of the country. So this is the standardization first principle. So in my today lesson, so mainly we talk about the Kaizen and 5'S system. In Kaizen, we talk about mainly, it's all about continuous improvement, Japanese concept of continuous improvement. And in the 5'S lesson, we mainly talk about the 5'S, sort, set in order, shine, standardize, sustain this system. And also in the other peripheral principles, adapted this wide range of techniques. We talk about first technique, standardization. Standardization means, you have to print it and circulate these rules and regulation. Make it a rule. That called the standardization. Okay, next one is a team working. We'll do team working and empowerment as well. Right, okay. Yeah, Divan, can you read the team working paragraph, please? Team working also is every concepts are there in my handout. Also I have mentioned this 5'S system, right? Seiri, Seiton, Seiso, Shitsuke, and Seikitsu and Shitsuke. And also just-in-time manufacturing, we talk about the advantages and disadvantages, just go through. And this is just-in-time manufacturing. And then we talk about the standardization also. And just-in-time, you can see again the advantages. We talk about the cash flow will improve, no waste or obsolete damage stock. Space is released, no stock holding costs, and strong links with supplier and few suppliers. However, there are disadvantages also in just-in-time, higher ordering administration cost, huge reliance on supplier reliability, advantage of bulk buying, lost, hard to cope with the fluctuations in demand, and vulnerable to breaks in supply. These are the main disadvantages of the just-in-time technique, right? And also we talk about the 5S system, right? Just go through the 5S system. Kaizen we talk about. So mainly the definition is important in Kaizen system. It's called the continuous improvement, right? So good housekeeping and continuous improvement, that is called the Kaizen, right? We talk about the different types of wastage that can be reduced. We call the Muda in Japanese term. Transportation, inventory, motion, waiting time, overproduction, overprocessing, and defects. Right? If you do so, I think we can have a good lean management concept. So lean management concept we talk about today. So in the summarize the lesson, we talk about lean management, we talk about just-in-time, and we talk about the Dell computers case study. And also we talk about the important measure Kaizen, Japanese methods of continuous improvement. And also we talk about the 5S system and 5S principles, right? So that is the summary of our lesson. Right. So in my next session, I'm going to discuss about the other standards, also team working, so quality circle, quality assurance, and everything. Right.